So welcome to another FC24 video. Today we're going over the things you should do when you start FC24. We're going over in-game settings today and just general things you need to know before you start playing FC24. This video is going to help those who already have the game, and it's also going to help those who will be getting the game soon as well. If you do enjoy the video, please leave a like for me and make sure you subscribe for more FC24 tips and tricks. First thing you need to know, and the first thing you should do, is get familiar with the menus, because this year it's an updated menu design. It's pretty straightforward. You go down the list, you find what you're looking for, all the modes are there. The only thing that I was confused about at the start was where EA put the settings, because I was going down the list and I couldn't find any of the settings that I needed. And then I looked underneath and it said flick to the left, and then you press the X button or the A button to open the settings. Now, I don't know why they didn't put just a settings thing in the list here. I don't know why that was too hard, but you have to flick to the left, open the settings, and that's where you'll find all the gameplay settings and everything else. Now when you flick to the left on your analog stick, you also can go down to accessibility settings as well. So it's on the top left corner there. Once you open it up, you can do all your accessibility stuff, or you can just go to game settings and you'll find it there as well. Alright, so now we know where all the settings are. Let's go to open settings here, because we need to do the next thing, and that's downloading the latest squads. So the first thing you should do when you start FC24, every week basically, is download the latest squads. So you go to your settings, you go to edit teams, and then you go to download updates. If there's a new update, you'll get this prompt that says yes or no. Obviously you click yes, and it will download the latest updates. This is one of the things you should do all the time in FC24, because it's essential to your kickoff and career mode experience. Downloading the latest squads ensures that the latest transfers, player faces, and player stats have been applied in the game, and you can then use those updates in career mode and kickoff mode as well. You can check every week because EA issues new squad updates that tinker player stats and face updates and manager updates and all that, so make sure you always have the latest squads updated. And of course, at any time you can also reset all the squads by clicking the reset button and then pressing yes, and then when you want to re-download everything, you press yes again. Now if you care about your privacy, you might want to go to online settings here and then go to privacy settings. This is going to be something that you need to pay attention to. If you have all these three ticked, you're going to be sharing your data with EA and maybe third parties as well. If you don't want to, make sure you turn that off. So share playtime usage data, turn it off. Usage sharing, turn it off. And in-game surveys, you might want to turn that off as well. But you can see here, it says EA collects your data from the PS5 console to develop our products and services. If disabled, EA will only collect your console data when we need to provide necessary online services. So yeah, if you care about your privacy, this is important as well. The next thing you should do in FC24 is play some kickoff games, because you need to put some gameplay sliders into the game. When we go to the settings here and we go to game settings, you can see that there's a tab called user sliders and CPU sliders. This modifies the gameplay experience to what you like. If you don't like the default gameplay experience from EA where it's all 50s, you might want to use some custom sliders. I'm going to leave a link in the description to what I use. I use the MAT10L sliders. I believe it's also called Operation Sports Community Sliders. It's good how we have sliders, because a lot of people don't like the default gameplay. It could be unrealistic, too arcadey, or just dodgy in general. So these sliders help to tone things down and make it more realistic as well. So like I said, it's MAT10L on Twitter. I'll leave the link, and at the moment there's 4 versions of the community sliders. So you can see how there's different sliders for different difficulties and also the kinds of match lengths you use as well. So pay attention to that, see what you like. It's very important that you sort this out straight away so your gameplay is good to go when you hop into career mode. Next thing you need to do under game settings is go to the gameplay tab there and look at your controller settings. I think this is essential to do before you start playing, because it affects your gameplay experience as well. Now there's different presets you can use, like competitive or custom. There are plenty of settings here that will make the gameplay different for you, and you can even turn off vibrations if you find them annoying as well. So you go to custom here, you can see auto shots. Players will take automatic shots on goal in situations where the player has a short reaction time within the 6-yard box. You can turn that on or off. There's assisted headers. So if disabled, header shots are manual and can potentially be more accurate for experienced players. Shot assistance as well. Shot direction will be assisted to ensure the player aims towards the goal always. And then we've got timed finishing, which I turn off. That's basically when you tap the shoot button twice and you have to time it right to get a better shot. There's also other things for passing, like auto flare pass, through pass assistance. So you can make this as easy or hard as you want. You can see assisted, manual, semi as well. So go through all this, take a look at it, read it, and like I said, it's very important because this will affect your gameplay experience. It could make things more difficult or easier for you, and a lot of people don't like to play on assisted, so this is where you go to change all that. Now for your controller preferences, you can turn analog sprint on or off. The further you hold R2 down, the faster the player will run. There's a trigger effect. L2 and R2 will cause a small resistance before fully pressing and triggering a player's sprint, jockey, or shield. I turn that off as well. And then there's also user vibration feedback, so enhanced, intense, or off. Now I know when you play on PS5, the controller has sounds coming out of it like referee whistles for halftime and full time, and also when a goal goes in, you hear the net sounds coming out of your controller. If you don't want that on, you can go down to the audio settings and go to this one right here, controller audio volume. You can turn that to 0 and you won't hear anything coming out of the controller. So EA obviously puts music in the game. To tinker with any of the audio settings, go to audio once again and go to general audio. You can turn off the sound effects in the menus. The music volume, you can put that down to 0 as well if you don't want to hear any songs. But this one's also important, Volta Music across all menus. With this setting turned on, Volta Music will play in all game modes. The music will alternate between EA Sports Music and Volta Music. So turn that on to get all the songs, even if you don't play Volta. And you also want to turn this one on as well. It's basically the same thing. And there's also one major audio setting that you might want to play with as well, beyond broadcast. Enabling this setting will raise the intensity and overall atmosphere of the crowd during gameplay to levels beyond typical broadcast. So if you've got a nice speaker setup or something, you might want to turn this one on and see how loud the crowd gets. If you ever want to change the in-game settings, go to Game Settings here and flick the R stick to the right. You'll see Language Select. You can change it to whatever's available here. Let's talk about commentary settings. These are available under the audio section here. So you've got commentary language, you've got English and some others available as well. If you want to use anything that's not available by default in the game, you would have to press the square button and it'll come up with a prompt saying that you need to download the commentary files. Now if you want to turn the sideline commentator on or off, you just do that. Commentary volume can be altered there, stadium ambience volume as well, and disable critical commentary as well can be on or off. Another thing you should take a look at is the rules settings. So this is good for injuries, offsides, bookings, handball, and referee strictness. You can turn injuries on or off, offsides on or off, bookings on or off, and handball on or off. And you can even turn it on, but accept penalties. I usually keep handball on to keep it more realistic, but sometimes I turn it off if I start seeing a lot of dodgy calls. And then we've got referee strictness, where you can make the referee strict or lenient as well. It's all up to you. Now, another thing you should do is pay attention to the controls. So you can customize your controls here by clicking this and selecting different buttons. So basically you're remapping, or you can just press the alternate there, 2 button, 1 button, just go through that. If you play eFootball, you might want to use alternate, so you can shoot with the square button. There's also defensive presets you can change as well for your controller. This is also important because it's going to affect how you play the game, obviously. Now you should also read up on the basic controls when you're attacking, defending and all that. It's going to tell you every control you need to know about the game, so you can see advanced, movement, tactics, defending, goalkeeper. It's all there. Whatever you need to know is all there. And then you should also pay attention to skill move controls like that. You've got the 1 star all the way up to the 5 star and juggling tricks as well. So this is all important stuff. And then you can also flick to the right and go and look at the celebration controls like running celebrations, finishing moves, and pro unlockables and all that, because obviously this is important to know because when you play the game you can do some of these skill moves and celebrations. If you haven't played FC games or you want to brush up on your skills, there's a training center that you can explore and it's going to teach you the fundamentals of playing. This is basically for the new people out there, the beginners. There's skill games as well that you can do, little drills and stuff. And then there's also the updated practice arena, which I think you should go and check out immediately as well. You can move players onto the field now. You can create your own scenarios through this setting. You can practice your free kicks. You might want to practice your free kicks because I still haven't scored 1 free kick in the game. There's also the practice match feature, like I said, where you can just pass it around, have a bit of fun there. And then there's also the camera angles you can change and the difficulty as well. So you might want to take a look at this and just practice before you get onto the field.